The Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Good morning, class, and welcome back to the Nerd Academy podcast, the show, son of a bitch. This is the number one contender, and this is the show where your favorite nerds talk all things movie trivia schmodown. And Travis.
So our first bit of news is Thor: Love and Thunder apparently has finished shooting.
Monday's going to be fun. Just as a little sneak peek, I am seeing so much news and a crazy rumor that is being pushed by some of the mid-tier trades.
I think I know the rumor you're talking about.
Is
it a rumor that SEN reported on? Because
to do with the certain clown prince of crime.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that one, but I'm referring to the rumors about apparently Jeff Snyder broke a story that Willem Dafoe is playing Green Goblin in No Way Home.
Okay.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Or I'm like, all right, let's just keep piling them up. But this is not that show. However, if you would like your hearty helping of nerd and fandom news, you can join us on Tuesdays at noon for the Nerd Academy podcast, the main show, the show that the whole network's named after. Go check that one out. Anyway, we are here. We have
I'm freshly not injured.
Yes. Your bump has gone away?
Yes.
Good.
The bruise is mostly gone. I still haven't watched Kalinowski v. Konopik. I know what happened. I know who won, but I haven't watched it. I haven't actually watched Danger Zone v. Rushmore. And I can't remember who won between Gold Leader and Marie Wilson. So
Gold Leader.
It's what I thought, but
Travis hit his head and lost an entire week of content. Like it was not good. But no, I'm glad you're well rested. I had one hell of a co-host to fill in for you last week, so that was a happy accident.
Apparently, next I get Brett Sheridan. So
yeah, Brad Gilmore.
That's going to be chaos.
Brad Gilmore. He's the other rundown guy. Although I would love to watch a podcast that's just you and Zaflirt and Flaus.
I saw B-Name, and I think my mind immediately defaulted to just me trying to interact with the Zaflirt and Flaus.
I'd kill to watch that. That'd be phenomenal. But yeah, that was my next question as to whether or not you're caught up with last week's events and wanted to pick your brain about it, but
I know Konopik Kalinowski was close.
Very.
And that he won. Their undercard was McKee and Janine?
Yes.
And McKee won?
Yes.
Okay.
Both of them were perfect until Janine's 5-pointer.
Somehow that doesn't surprise me. And I don't say that as a shot at Janine. I say that as of course that's her luck, right? I mean, she got a proving ground match this week too, which we'll talk about later.
We'll get to it, but sweet Jesus, Janine, it lives up to the nickname.
So, Star Wars match.
Yeah. This was a rough one at first, both the Star Wars match and the IG match this week both have that you may not have had all the questions right, but you never gave up fighting, and you absolutely do get like not actual points, but
You get, like, a
morality
cookie.
points
You get a cookie.
for that. Yeah. You do get a cookie. And, Sean Sullivan, I feel bad for the guy because, like, Homeboy got paired up against the biggest force of nature in this tournament. Like, maybe not the biggest force of nature, but the most proven force of nature. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ace went perfect the whole game.
The only question he missed was the steal that he did know. He just second guessed himself.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The only thing he missed was that steal on the Last Jedi,
which I think would have given him the knockout if he had gotten it.
Yeah, he would. It would have been over.
But yeah, I didn't expect. Like, obviously, Ace is good. We know Ace is good, but Ace has always been like the grindy player, where like he's persistent. He gets he takes his time. He gets his questions, but like he'll miss one or two here or there. I don't think we've ever seen him go perfect.
Laura Kelly.
Oh, okay. I can remember, but yeah.
But no, you're right. When I think of Ace, I do the same thing. Where I think of him as like the scrappier. He has a huge knowledge pool, but there is a little bit of that.
Like he'll forget who Darth Maul is sometimes.
Are the cats there with you guys? I thought I heard a cat.
No, you're hearing cars.
I really thought I heard a cat purr, and I was like, "Wait, give me one of the kitties right now." But no, yeah, like he'll forget about Darth Maul. In
his defense, that was kind of a trick question, but
yeah, well, and that was the thing was that like I remember watching that, or it was like I can't remember if it was Zabrak or Zabrak villain, or if the category was in villains.
It was villains, and it was like, who is the first Zabrak we see on screen? And you could see on his face that he was like, it can't be Darth Maul.
Yeah, it is not that easy. Well, I remember I was going, okay, it could be Eth Koth, and it was like, no, the category is villains. Well, shit, it's Darth Maul. Like, what's taking you? I will also say the first question that Sean Sullivan missed. This is another one like last week that I could tell how he missed it because it was the which creature in the Geonosian arena breaks a spear in half with their mouth. And yes, it is the Acolyte because Obi-Wan throws the spear in the Acolyte and then it just pulls it out and snaps it. But the Nexu gets prodded with an electro pike.
And that's he said. Like he was thinking about that when he answered, and then realized after he.
Oh, I didn't realize he had said that.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
For once, I listened to the interviews. He also.
I watched this match right before I left for work on Monday, so I didn't get to watch the interviews. So that makes sense. A
lot of the ones he missed, he said I had two answers. One was right, one was wrong, and he kept going with the wrong one. Which happens, everyone has bad days.
Yeah.
But
yeah, he definitely showed his mettle as he didn't give up, he didn't throw in the towel. He had the same level of intensity throughout that entire match.
Mm-hmm.
And did the Korruption fans proud. Moving on to our next match, which was also a absolute battle. We have Jacob Whitneben and Mark Hayes, the Moose. I love Haas. I can't. There's a Hayes at the bar. And they spell it the same way. So I keep catching myself. Thank you. Also, I want to see more from Mr. Haas, if for no other reason than I want to keep hearing Harloff in his announcer voice say, Moose!
Okay, I have a question, because I listened to this match. Do they have a recording of Harloff?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like just audio. Like they'll be like, and now from the golden throat of Christian George Harloff, and then it'll be like,
Yeah.
and like literally
Is-
they're just sitting there, and you could just hear Harloff's like disembodied Force Ghost voice, just introducing first.
Yeah, because last week they did that for a match, and I wasn't expecting it. And I don't think they like said anything about it, and suddenly it was Harloff's voice, and I got really freaked out. And this week I had enough context to imply they had a soundbite, like he had gone and recorded every outcome of the match, that I was like, okay. He like I think they just have a recording. Okay. Which is I like Andrew Guy's announcing. I like his let's get ready to schmodowns and his introductions.
I do
He does
too.
a good job.
I do too. I'm enjoying Andrew Guy. Good old Winter Soldier, Andrew Guy.
Good old still in 2017, Andrew Guy.
I want to ask Travis, who do you think? I think this is a cutscene that you would have been able to see last week. Who do you think Grace is working with? Like who do you think she was on the phone with?
I don't know the cutscene you're talking about.
It was the one that had the Winter Soldier thing in it. Where like he goes all Winter Soldier and then she like calls somebody.
I didn't see it.
Oh, okay. So Drew shows up to Grace and he's kind of like bugging out. And then and like literally it's just like the Winter Soldier where it's the like programmed words. And it's a bunch of stuff to do with like the past of Team Action and shit like that. And then he just slips back into like, hey, thank you, Grace. It's really appreciated. And he was like getting all like heated about the Schmominati again. And then she brought him back down. And then she got on the phone and she was like, hey, you're going to need to be more involved from now on, was what she said.
Might have been Mark.
I think it might be Mark Ellis. Wouldn't that be one hell of a heel turn for Mark to be at the center of some grand conspiracy? I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I know Christian has his Facebook back, quote unquote.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. He's back to his not lioness glory.
What a shame.
What was he? And then like half following the Mark Andreyko stepping down.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if they gave a reason for that or if it was just like he needed to take a break. But
so he said in his announcement that it was just basically like there are things going on, good things that require him to step away for a little bit. He has every intention of returning, but for the time being, he was stepping away. And as far as the plot line goes, Grace demanded that he make the announcement on last week's pay-per-view instead of being able to talk to Roxy and Jeff about it first. So because of Grace, put in air quotes, there was the bomb dropped on everybody at once. Everybody found out, not through Mark privately, but through the announcement that she forced him into.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, look forward to the return of the android very as soon as it could happen. Pardon me. But yeah, no, wouldn't have been and Haas. This was tough, and I think it was Andrew Guy who said that again, like we were saying. You get a cookie. You may not have won. You may not have scored a lot of points, but you get a cookie for getting, punched in the mouth and getting back up. That how demoralizing it is that like it becomes this weird like looping, using like a game term, like a debuff almost to yourself, where like you are losing your morale. And like you're getting in your own head more and more with each question that you miss. And I can only imagine that was part of Whitnaben's. Like, I was part of what led us to that issue, is that he was kind of all right here in his own brain for a little bit there. But that does not take away from Mark Haas having an incredible performance.
So, do you think he spun away from Spider-Man on purpose?
I think I don't even necessarily think that Gucci was referring necessarily to Mark Haas's own performance with Spider-Man. I think that there was a level of, we saw the
What happened with Greg Alba?
Yeah, or like it was Humphrey who got KO'd because of a Spider-Man question.
One of them. It was a real reject.
Yeah, it was Humphrey. Yeah, I couldn't remember who was playing against him. I wasn't sure, but you reminded me that they're both on the same team. But like John Humphrey, like that KO, that the infamous -1 that was thrust upon the usual suspects happened because he got KO'd in Spider-Man. I think that there's a kind of like a specter hanging over the Spider-Man category, is something that there's a lot of questions about supporting characters that aren't just who's the villain in what movie.
I think it's somewhere in the middle, where like they knew Spider-Man was a strong enough category for him that if they got because again, it's two rookies. And I think they know the strategy of, if they spin away from something and they get opponent's choice, they're going to get that thing, right? Because they don't have enough information on them otherwise. So to spin away from Spider-Man, the thought process was, this is like your number 2 category or number 3 category, whatever. So you're going to hit this good enough. And then it went from a category where he maybe goes to multiple once or twice to a perfect category just because of the questions,
Yeah, and he absolutely killed it, and it was a great category to watch. I will say, I think one of my favorite questions I've heard in the newer categories was, and again, not for any particular reason, just in it's a good trivia question, with the how many times has J.K. Simmons played J.J. Jameson?
Yeah.
Because if you're not thinking, if you're not present in the match, you get it wrong.
Well, I did it in my head. I did a trick question in the other way. Like, I said the answer. I knew the answer, but I was like, it can't just be 4. Because I always think it's more than.
Yeah.
But.
And then it occurred to me that surprisingly he does not show up in Into the Spider-Verse, and that you'd think they would find a way for him to be in there.
Well, he was in one of the animated series, I think.
Ultimate Spider-Man, yeah.
So that's why they had to.
I watched a little bit of that just because, I'm a Spider-Man fan, and I'll get my dirty paws on any Spider-Man content I could at the time because I wasn't getting much. And I was like, that's a really good J.K. Simmons impression this person's doing. And I was like, holy shit, they got J.K. Simmons with his Disney XD cartoon? Which, granted, J.K. Simmons is no stranger to voice work. Obviously, Legend of Korra, Invincible is the big one right now. But
but that's Amazon money. That doesn't count.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But I was surprised he did a Disney XD project. It was really good, though. But yeah, no, good match. Mark Haas. This is not a slight against Whitnaben because he is a rookie and there's not much of a record to judge there. And who is to say that a particularly bad day isn't just your first day? So this is not a slight against Mr. Whitnaben or the usual suspects or anything like that. However, I want to know if Mark Haas had a lot of momentum and a really strong first round here, or if there's a consistent level of proficiency, and I would like to see him demonstrate that against an opponent whom on that day is a little stronger. And again, I think Whitney Ben is going to come back with a vengeance, and he's going to hit somebody from the top rope and rock their shit because they're expecting a lackluster performance, and he'll catch them off guard thanks to this match. Moving on. I did not get a chance to actually watch this. You said you skimmed through it. Who was our winner?
Josh Horowitz.
Excellent.
Came down to his 5-pointer.
Okay.
It looked like a very close, grindy match. I didn't watch it. I might listen to it today, but yeah, it went up in the Spotify before it went up on YouTube, and it didn't go up on YouTube till 1 a.m.
It was even later. I might have just gotten the notification later than that, because I know I was sitting. It was 3:45, and I'm watching the speed round for Odd Couple and Shazam, and then my phone just bloop bloop. Movie Trivia Schmodown, Josh Horowitz versus Paul Walker Hauser. I'm like, oh,
that's good.
If I didn't have to be up in a matter of a couple hours, I would watch you. Good night, goodbye, and then finish the title match. But yeah, no, that's good. Good for the Mercs picking up quite a few points this week. On a bit of a tear.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
Speaking of factions that are on a little bit of a tear right now, Korruption versus the Danger Zone, part of last night's pay-per-view event.
So I also skimmed the live event at first because I didn't know if I'd have time to watch the whole thing.
Okay.
So I was like, well, I want to know who wins both. And I saw the winner of this, and I was like, that's upsetting. And then I looked, and I guess they interviewed Snyder first for whatever reason at the end of the title match. And so I went into this being really sad. And so
I just think just clicked for me that no, we both won a little bit.
Yes, we did. We both won. I think that I think Danger Zone is that really, really fast car that once
tries
you get
past your house all the time.
Yes. That can go as fast as it can with the chance of just immediately falling apart to just the frame and the wheels. You know what I mean? They're not quite consistent as a team yet, and I think part of that is obviously on a storyline level, it's that they're both just there for business.
Yeah.
But reality wise, I think they're just not used to working together, which is fair. And they need more time to figure themselves out, figure out what they're doing. I don't know that Danger Zone could have taken the Odd Couple, the Odder Couple, or Shazam. You know what I mean?
I think you're right. I agree with you completely that if they had somehow made their way through Chance and Mike, that they were kind of DOA no matter what combination of, like you said, OG, Odd Couple, Odder Couple, or Shazam. It's kind of what I said 2 weeks ago, the last time I had you, last time I got to talk to your beautiful Italian face, was that we were I was saying I don't think they have the synergy. I don't think they have the chemistry that like made the founding fathers work, that Rushmore is riding so high on right now. And, you know, last week I ate my crow. Last week I said, I was like, I counted out Danger Zone. I didn't think they could do it. And
They managed to hit that high speed without the car falling apart.
Yeah, they punched it and Rushmore felt it.
I think the other thing too is like when this team's tournament was formed by Grace, right? Like in the storyline, her whole thing was that like Korruption's not going to have played all season, and they're going to have to face a team that's coming in hot from winning a tournament, right?
Yeah.
So I think the opposite happened, where like Danger Zone was fatigued from playing Rushmore, and you know, between Chance winning his only singles match this season, like he's feeling good. He's had time to study. Mike is a belted player again.
Yeah.
Coming into this. And so he's had like the week to get back on track, knowing he has Chance to rely on. Knowing that he has the ability to put inner geekdom slices on the wheel helps a lot. He got another Batman Mask of the Phantasm question in teams for some reason.
I heard that and I was like, that's what, because I took a beat and I was like, that's that's a phantasm. I mean, it's valid, it works, but it's like getting a question about Batman Mask of the Phantasm in teams feels like if you put Lucasfilm on the wheel in singles and you got a question about the Clone Wars movie, right? We're like, there's just something inherently just, you don't belong here. Like, you're a theatrically released movie. You count. You have every right to have questions asked about you.
But I'm still upset.
What the hell are you doing here?
Yeah. So I think like the expectation that Grace had, and obviously like that's character Grace, but like that expectation got flipped too coming into this. And now Shazam and Korruption get a rematch. So that's neat.
Yeah. They do. They do. I'm excited for it. Yeah.
And we got to see if Shazam can ever actually defend a belt. I hope they can.
Nothing against them or you, but I sure hope they can't. No, I was loving this match. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. One of the things I've always loved about Korruption on like a character work level, is they aren't faces, but they aren't like mega heels. Like Mike is a heel, Chance is a heel to a certain extent. You know, Adam Collins and Marisol are heels, but they aren't like super villains. You know, like they aren't like vicious bastards, any of them, or the way they play those characters. And you can't tell that Korruption aren't supervillain heels until they're standing next to Ben fucking Bateman, who like just can't help with it in the promo, just going, you know, Mike's a third tier player, you know, like doing that shit, right? That like they like, and then that is a compliment to Ben Bateman's character work. That like you. There's a possibility to make Korruption look like the quote unquote good guys in a conflict, you know, and yeah, that's just why I like them. I said it before, and I will keep saying they have that like anti-hero heel energy. You know, where I think the only like bastard heels that are in the league really are Ben and Chandru. Who like really lean into it consistently and are very antagonistic with every match. But aside from the character work, again, and people want to talk about how Mike and Corruption as a team and as a faction love to pretend, in quotes, be an underdog when, like, it's every time. It's every time these guys get bet against, and I love it. I love that happens every single time. I remember I saw the Twitter poll and I saw that Danger Zone was just running away in that Twitter poll.
And I think, like, that's going. Corruption hasn't played in half a year.
Yeah.
And, Danger Zone is running hot, whatever, yada, yada. I think in teams, it's like a toss-up. I think when Mike's by himself, to bet against him is, when Mike's by himself in Inner Geekdom, if you're counting him as an underdog, that's just stupid. I think in teams, for the most part, if you're counting him as an underdog, it's probably not the wise pick. Like, going into this match, I was like, it's 50-50. Like, it could go either way. And so, and it's always circumstantial. I feel like they always end up playing the team that's on a tear too, because, like, they're always that one step away from the belt.
Yeah.
But that should say something, that they're always one step away from the belt. So I guess they'll be throwing down at Spectacular then. That's my assumption.
I'm not sure if they're saving them for that or not.
Or not Spectacular.
Sure. I knew
Collision. I meant Collision.
I knew what you meant. I'm not
The other
sure
ones.
if they're saving the other one. I don't know if they're saving them or not. And that's one thing I wanted to talk about before we got into, like, I was going to say the next week's matches, and then I realized we don't have next week's matches. So I want to come back to that when we're done talking about Odd Couple versus Shazam, because I do kind of want to pick your brain about what we do while we wait for the Collision. But no, I thought this is an incredible match. I love the Ben Bateman has been twice scorned for his, again, I'm speaking the character here, twice scorned for his arrogance when it comes to corruption. There's been the
we need to talk about something much more pressing.
Okay.
So Harloff got his Facebook back. His cover photo is a slice of pizza. It's like his normal picture for the profile picture, and then his cover picture is just...
This is why he's one of my favorite people on the internet. Like, I love that. That's just so fun. Hashtag Pizza Harloff. But, Bateman went into the Danger Zone Deception match talking, again, and it's expected, the shit talk. But, like, he, as a character, and it's enjoyable, takes it to a level where it's like, oh, yeah, like, they're this flash in the pan team. This is going to last 30 seconds. No one cares. These are a bunch of baby players. You haven't played like a real force of nature yet. We're about to smack you in the mouth and put you in the corner. And then they got out of that match by the skin of their teeth. When you're watching a match and it ends in Dan Murrell doing one of these, where it's that, like, I gotta rip the headphones off. Like, I need to, like, free myself from the harness here for a second.
Mm-hmm.
That says a lot about how much you pressured somebody. So Deception had Danger Zone cornered. And then you come around here, where Ben was the lowest scoring person on the table, and I'm not going to pretend that Mike didn't miss a couple in round one either, because he did. I talk a big game. He's my favorite player, but I'm not going to pretend that he didn't have a not incredible performance in round one. And that the narrative of Chance being the stronger player on that team isn't necessarily incorrect.
I mean, he
And
even admitted,
yeah,
you know.
Mike said it. And
I think that's because Mike focuses in so many divisions, right? Like he just won his belt back in IG. So like for him to immediately come to this match and be at all prepared is astonishing. Like it's impressive. It's really impressive. So
yeah, he had the same thing, and we talked about this last week with Frank Janish, where Mike had a similar road to hoe here that Alex Damon did.
Yes.
You know, where it was like granted, like Alex's was worse.
Oh, absolutely,
and
because
you're coming off of a loss, and all of the like prepping for May 4th and all the Bad Batch stuff. Like Alex had a lot on his plate as a content creator, and he had to switch gears, and he was coming off of a very heartbreaking defeat.
And still had to be ready for his next title match in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
You know, like I think that's where having Chance here helped him a lot, was because like their normal dynamic is Mike hits what he can hit, and what he does know, he knows. So they focus into that. Because he's still not missing a lot. Like he's missing 2 or something. I don't remember how many he missed in.
I think it was only 2.
So like you can recover from a 2-point. You know, if you're looking at this at the sheet of here's so many total points we can get without stealing in one match, you can work in a range of that's decreased by 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it's again, it was a fantastic match. Danger Zone played their hearts out. I cannot applaud Dan Murrell enough. The way he handled the interview at the end, where he was like, I better not see anybody talking shit on Ben, saying that Ben cost us this match because this was both of us. He was like, this isn't Ben's fault. It's my fault and it's Ben's fault. Like, we both contributed to our own defeat here. And it was just, Dan Murrell being I think Jen Sturger put it best, where she said something to the effect of, Dan Murrell's the only person who can make a defeat inspiring, which there's definitely truth to that. And yeah, very, very excited to see Korruption moving forward. Puts a smile on my face. And again, this is big points. The Finstock Exchange, with the defeat of Rushmore, has run out of a very important path. And the Finstock, and again, the Exchange is not to say anything ill about it. They're doing great. However, they're kind of just stalled in second place, because I don't know when their next big match could be.
Yeah.
Like, this is a bad time for them to run out of like juice on the higher profile matches, because now they're just, and I talked about this last week, and I'm going to say it again here. I'm not going to like put my foot down and be like, Korruption wins this season, hands down, game over. I'm not going to do that, because anything can happen. I'm not going to do that and mean it, outside of like team spirit and bravado and whatever. But the Exchange is just going to be a sitting duck for a minute here. That is prime for being passed.
They're good. They're prime for being passed until full-on tournament season, and I think that's when they pick up again, because I think that's what they're getting ready for. Is now that all of their players have had the experience of a match. I don't know that all of them have, but like most of them have. And everyone but Brother Lomas has won. Yeah. They're ready to take on it. Gold Leader's taking on the Star Wars tournament and doing incredible, right? They're ready for singles tournament. Moose is probably ready for an Inner Geekdom tournament, right? Like, they're ready to rack up those points there, and they've had the match to get their feet wet. They've had the match to feel out the game, They still don't have a lot of game tape on any of them. So to actually go up against them and like, if they get unlucky with Spinner's Choice, they can pull the shit that Moose pulled this week, where they go, yeah, I spun away from my like number 2 category because, again, I'm assuming they did that, and that's incredibly smart. But like, I spun away from my number 2 category just in case, like, for the offensive play of I'm going to go for my number 1. If I don't get it and get opponent's choice, like the worst case scenario is actually the second best case scenario.
Yeah, honestly.
You know?
Yeah, and that's just the exchange is in dangerous territory, and I'm curious that like
they don't have an easy way to a belt.
They don't, and I don't. And again, June's going to be the Wild West because I don't. And again, we're going to talk about this more in detail. I want to know so badly what the plan is for June.
Yeah, they have to come up with something.
Like how much
tomorrow? So
yeah, like I want to know how much of June is going to be dedicated to. How much of these belts going to move around in June?
Yeah,
is my big question. So, to get to that conversation a little sooner, Odd Couple versus Shazam. I keep forgetting that Janine plays for the Stars now. I keep forgetting that Janine plays under Roxy. And if I had remembered that Janine is not with the Suspects, and I keep thinking she is. I keep thinking it's last season and she's playing for Sam Levine. That if I remembered that she's on the Stars, this would have been a goddamn no-brainer.
Oh, of course, yeah. Like when I saw her, I went, "Oh, that just makes sense."
That's the obvious pick. Because like, and I got excited because I was like, I have no idea who it's going to be, and I sat down last night and I'm watching the match, and I'm like, I hear the music, I'm like, oh no shit, Sherlock! Of course it's Janine.
I didn't realize I mean, like it makes sense they go with someone in the faction, but like I didn't realize that's what they were limiting themselves to when they gave Jeff the option.
Yeah.
So.
Well, originally Jeff was like, "I'll play anybody Shazam can pick."
Yeah.
Shazam can pick my teammate.
And Shazam is Shazam, so they went.
Yeah.
Well, we want you to have a person you're comfortable with because we want to earn it. You know,
Bibbs in that promo killed me. The Reformation of the Patriots. Oh no! I love that man. Not as much as you do, but I love him. He's hilarious. But yeah, this is not an easy match for the Odder Couple. Odd Couple 2.0, Odd Couple 2, Electric Couple. But I was impressed. Odd Coupler, and I was very impressed by the state of play, and I feel like in any other circumstances, the Odd Couple would have come out either on top or better, but Shazam scooped up every available point in the match.
A perfect game. Something they don't really do. They were on fire. And
yeah.
I hope they can cascade that into their defense against corruption. Because Shazam, they range in their performance between like what they did last night and like it's the difference between an A- and an A+. But that can be the difference for a title match. You know what I mean? So I hope they are able to cascade into another A+, presumably next month.
I mean, honestly, I hope they do too, just because I want to see them and corruption, full power, unstoppable force, immovable object shit. Like, I want to see a slugfest. I want to see sudden death. Like, I really, really, really want to see corruption sweat.
I want
to see them fight for the belt.
I want this to be the highest scoring match in Schmodown history.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
mean, in teams, it's already a whole lot easier to do it there. So
60
no,
points, 60 points, 60.
but no, I am very excited to see how this shapes up. I think that on a plot line, pardon me, general entertainment level, seeing Shazam prepare to play a team like Corruption is funny. Seeing them have to do their whole, oh boy, here we go, gonna go do some trivia, guys, let's go, yay, stuff.
I can't remember if they played Corruption for the belt or if they played Corruption for the number 1 contender shot last season.
I can't either. And it was a contender shot because I'm pretty sure the founding fathers took the belts off of Corruption once last season. I believe that is the case. Because then they won the tournament last season, and I think that's how.
No, they won the tournament in 2019.
Oh shit, they did. I'm crossing the wires so hard. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun rematch though, regardless. Because again, you kind of gotta. At least this is a me thing. That teams has changed so much over the past couple years.
They did take the belts from Corruption.
They did.
Yes.
Damn. Okay.
That was how they got them last year. Before.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, it's just there's just two very different teams that both compete in the highest level. It's weird because I do that thing where I keep forgetting that the status quo is not what it was in 2017 or 2018, and just how different teams is now. And it's weird because it feels like Corruption is the only team of that era left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Because I was thinking about that just a little bit ago, that how many new teams we have already this season versus, teams that are only a year or two old, and then there's Corruption.
They go back several seasons, and and again, it doesn't occur to me that I see Corruption there, and part of my brain is still going yes, and they are in competition with Team Action and the Shire Wolves and Above the Line and Top 10 and the Patriots. There's a part of my brain that's no, that's not the status quo anymore. That the team's division is very different now, and it's moments like this that show how evergreen the talent on Corruption is, how evergreen William Bibiani is as a player. He said he was under the weather and in pain that entire match, and is still, whooping ass from that Dutch angle. It was great, and I love seeing Bibiani as the de facto leader of Shazam. In that way where they got to the betting round and whatever their code word was for 3, I think it was Epsilon Theta. Yeah. He was like, we need to go Epsilon Theta. We need to go Epsilon Theta. And watching both Koi and the kid go Epsilon Theta.
And that's one of those cases where, because the category was Stephen King, right?
Yeah.
So Bibbs has authority there, right? It's not even a question.
100%.
If he's saying go for 3 on this category, you go for 3 on that category. And that was absolutely the right play, just because, again, always press your advantage. I want to see a team, or just a player. I want to see someone do the insane tactic of just saying it out loud. I want to watch someone play for a belt go, I'm betting 3 here.
And just
to get in somebody's head. Yeah. Like I'm trying to think of one. Like if
For the audio listeners, whom I'm so used to like focusing on the video stuff, I keep forgetting about the audio version. Travis and I did the shorthand gesture for putting your balls on the table.
who's playing for the singles belt at Collision? It's Merle and
Well, I don't think we know yet. I don't think we know who's challenging Merle. We know the number one contender match shows
is
over
McKee and Smith.
and Kevin Smith.
Oh right, yeah. That's what June's matches are. We do know, not when, but we know some of them because it's like Ethan
We know
Irwin,
what some
Ethan Irwin, Paulo. So let's say we end up with Paulo Yama versus Dan Merle, right? I
Yeah.
want to watch one of them like look in the camera and be like, I'm betting 3 points just to mess with them.
Now, I don't know how much planning and like contracting and dotted line signing would go into it. What do you think the odds are of Collision either being a live event or like an in-studio live event?
I think that might be why they're waiting to announce it. Properly announce when it is because they're trying to weigh that out. Like maybe once they have the lineups done, if everyone's vaccinated, they could do it in studio. Which I'm sure most of them have to be by now. The other problem is, of course, like everyone's home. So like, Dan's a state away, and that means he has to commute. Such and such, right?
If Corruption maintains their belts, they got to get Chance in there from Arizona.
Yeah, it's not undoable. It's just that like I think they're considering all of that and trying to put it together. I think they're close to live events again, with things opening back up slightly. I hope they end up at least back in studio. I think that'll make everyone feel really good. It'll be a much different environment compared to what they've become used to, but like, a good version. And I just think that it's so close, but now they have so much to consider because of how many people they've brought in that aren't there.
Yeah.
Like what happens when Jacoby Bancroft ends up in a title match?
And I think they have said that the digital matches.
Jacoby.
I know
Jacob
what you
London.
meant. Jacob
Sorry.
London, yeah.
The other J-name superstar that I really like.
They've said that the digital matches aren't going anywhere. I think that the word I've heard on backstage and the rundown is something to the effect of maybe a digital match a week.
Okay.
So there will be room for Chances and Blundens and so on and so forth. And whenever there's a big match, throw their ass on a plane or a bus.
Yeah.
Get them there.
The other thing too, and I saw someone in the Facebook group talking about this a while ago. What we've gotten so used to hearing the discourse between manager and player.
I'm gonna miss it so much.
Yeah. So
my favorite shit. I legitimately love it. I legitimately love like the, ringside talk between the managers and the competitors. And like, there's a part of me that's hoping that it would be a lot of work on the editing side. That like managers are mic'd.
Mm-hmm.
That like when they go over there to like talk to their player, that we get to hear the ringside advice. Like I don't know. I enjoy that a lot, and I'm going to be disappointed to see it go. Not entirely, because we still will have digital matches, but
yeah, it'll be different.
It'll certainly be different, and it'll be a tough pill to swallow. With regard to the Odd Couple versus Shazam match, before we wrap that up and move on to what we think is going to be happening with June, Amazing job on all parts. I love seeing soft Jeff Snyder. You know, I like slightly crazy, unhinged Jeff Snyder the most. You know, when he's like walking into the free for all with a shirt that says bastard, or like with bastard written on his bare chest, wearing suspenders and a domino mask type shit. Like, I love that Jeff Snyder. But it was really sweet seeing him be very cordial with Shazam, and how encouraging he was with Janine. And Janine, she got nabbed at the very last minute and was the stronger half of the Odd Couple. So Shazam did not get this win easily. However, they did do it phenomenally. And we will see what happens between Korruption and Shazam. For June, like we've been alluding to, we know about Paulo Yama versus Ethan Irwin. We will likely be seeing the Odd Couple versus Shazam.
You mean Korruption versus
June?
Shazam?
Yeah. I read my notes directly. Did not break eye contact with the bullet point. Ron Burgundy.
We also know we're getting Bateman versus Roca, I think.
Bateman versus Roca is brewing. We don't know when it's going to be, what it's going to be for. I wouldn't be surprised if it's some form of.
Well, no, Washington said it was.
match.
Jay said it was Ethan Irwin, Paulo Yama, Ben Bateman, and John Roca. Winners of those play each other. Winner of that plays Merle. That's the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That'll be interesting. That's going to be good. I can't quite figure out who I think will take that. But I'm curious to see what all movements happen belt-wise going into July. You know, like if the collision's at the beginning of July, you basically only have like a week or two to do anything crazy with title matches.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of singles will be dominated by this mini tournament that will get us to either Roca or Bateman or Irwin or Paulo Yama to fight Merle. You know, but like, how much of teams do you do? You know, I feel like Star Wars is a done deal. I feel like that's got to be Laura Kelly versus DeMolanta. You know, I don't like the Star Wars tournament's wrapping up. So Kelly already has that number one contender shot, right? So it's not like she's in a position where she can get kind of like pitched back down to play the winner of the Star Wars tournament. Unless the winner of the Star Wars tournament automatically has a number one contender shot.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
And they'll be like next in line after Laura Kelly. So I feel like Star Wars is spoken for. But, you know, it's kind of been a month since we've seen the Star Wars title match. So, and we're getting like at least 2 or 3 different title matches a year, or a month rather. So I don't know. I'm very excited to see what title shots are on the line in the month of June, because there's been a lot of movement up to this point, and I feel like there's a deadline in mid-June, theoretically speaking, about when we are going to start going, this is the lineup for the collision. This is who's playing. This is who to expect. This is who's defending. Who's going for it. Whatever. You accidentally opened that match back up. But yeah, Travis, thoughts on the coming month of June before we get into it?
I want to see a schedule soon. And that's it.
I do too. And I look forward to writing it, because then I get to make everything look colorful. Well, I think that is all we have for you guys this week. So, Travis, where can the lovely people find you, good sir?
On Twitter and Instagram at Travis Political, and probably sleeping. Jared?
Yes.
Where?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram celebrating another win for corruption. On Twitter and Instagram at Travis Political. Fuck, what the hell? I gotta go.
I thought you were doing a bit.
No, I'm not. I dead ass. I'm running on fumes, guys. I'm sorry. You guys can find. I did all that shit talk and then plugged your socials.
Does that mean I have to go talk up corruption on Twitter now?
Yeah, you right now have to start. You right now have to start doing the rounds. Get yourself a lollipop. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where, if you're feeling generous, you can donate to our Patreon page. Speaking of our patrons, be sure to chuck a cup. Thank you to our $10 alumnus, Case and Brion, the Waffle Wizard, Delta 9, and Zach and Mouse. You guys help us make the content that we love to produce. Consider the $5 tier. Knights of the Nerd Republic Versus Series is back next week. Heroic History 101 will be back very soon. We have our new story. We're doing Batman 3 Jokers. It's going to be a good time. Getting back on track with that. Movie Club audio commentaries for our $10 patrons. The Empire Strikes Back episode of Movie Club is out now, and the audio commentary is up there as well. So be sure to check that out. Watch the movies with Devin and I. And be sure to click on the student store link on our website whenever this goes up. I believe TeePublic's Memorial Day sale is still going on, so you can get some Nerd Academy merch at a discounted rate, 35% off. That basically means as long as you're not wearing big boy sizes like me, you're getting a t-shirt for $15. And again, you can get the version of us as Star Wars characters. You can get a couple different versions of the logo. You can get the cute little doodles of us. Do whatever you like, but help support your favorite nerdy network. With that, thank you. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do the things. Thank you all so very much for listening, and smash cancer.
Stop! Move away from the cookie.